Good morning, everybody. It is, excuse me, I'm stuck on my desk. It is December 2nd, and today I am going to be doing a little bit of, as soon as I get my tripod set up, going to be doing a little bit of a show and tell. My mother had given me a photo album about a month or so ago for me to look at, excuse me. I woke up this morning with a sore throat, so I'm drinking some liquids. But anyhow, Mom gave me an old photo album, and I looked through it briefly last night and went, oh wow, this is like a family photo album. I have some pictures at the very beginning of people that I don't even know, and a birth certificate of, I'm thinking it's my grandfather, because it's dated 1925. Yeah. So some of the pictures in the beginning are people I don't even know. I'm assuming my grandfather and his family as he grew up back in the 1920s. So I couldn't even tell you who some of these people are. But then I got to a page that had, it's a graduation, people who graduated, and it's got James Henson circled. And the next page is basically my father's graduation certificate from elementary school, because it says Chicago Elementary School, and I've never lived in Chicago. My dad grew up there. But it's got like some family pictures and whatnot. Old black and white pictures. In fact, I'm going to see if I can slip this one out without too many problems, because I do not want to damage the picture. Nope. Alright, so I'm going to have to do it this way. I'm afraid that if I try to pull it out, but let's see here. That is my father, and I don't know what car that is, but I definitely know that's Dad. Yep. That picture's sliding out. Oh, because that one didn't get placed. And then there's also pictures of him in basic training. And that's him right there, and that's his best friend, John Moss, who is now a Baptist minister. I got a bunch of photos from his barracks room that they shared. I can't even tell what some of these pictures are. Then it goes into pictures of my mom when she was younger, her wedding pictures, which I'm not going to show those because Mom's a little, she don't like being on camera. But then we got pictures of me as a baby, and 3 days old. Let's see if I can get a good one. Oh, hey, oh. That would be. Oh, this ring light is not going to be good with this. So hold on a second, folks. Let me just, boom. See if you can get a better look. That's me right there. Black and white photo. And then that's me, Mom, and one of our dogs that we had back in the Philippines. I think that's, I don't know which one that is, because I don't have a memory of. That's a nice, back in the 70s. Oh, come on, camera, don't. That's Dad. I think he's sitting at the wet bar that they had in the Philippines. They threw a lot of parties in the Philippines. And then some of these pictures are so like the old cameras back then. Let's see here. My cousins when they were babies. I'm going to hold this up, and hopefully the lights and the camera don't cause a glare. But this is my graduation picture from what is this from? Ding Dong Campus, Jacksonville, Arkansas. Graduating class, and this is like from elementary school, or not elementary school, preschool, back in 78. Yeah, back in 78. And then here's a nice picture of me, mom, and dad back in the late 70s before we went to Germany. This is Christmas at my grandma's house. And then, let's see here. See if I can pull this one out, because this is not as old and the picture is different. But I have a beautiful, well, I think it's beautiful because it's a memory. I don't know how long these pictures, but this right there is a picture. That's my dad. That's at the front of the house that we lived in Germany, and you know there's a little Volkswagen down there. That little blue Volkswagen Bug, Dad got from Mom so she can learn how to drive in Germany, because he was going to have to come back to the States for family issues. But this is actually the front of the house in Altlay, and this is one of the side yards during the wintertime. And then this, I'm trying to remember where this picture, what am I looking at? Oh, okay. These two pictures are from what we call Little America. It's like slightly down the hill from the house we were living in. And the one big, well, there's two different big buildings, and they were like mini apartments for American families or American GIs that wanted to live off base in one of the local communities. That's looking down the street from the house, and this is actually the doorway that led to the part of the house that the German family who owned the house lived in. We lived upstairs. As you can see, there's a picture of me sitting on the bottom of the stairs. I'm sorry if you guys can't really get a real good look at them, because the picture, between the glare from my light and the glare off the photo album, one of the towns we lived in. Yeah, that's a really bad picture of one of the castles, one of the old Roman castles that were kind of crumbling. Okay. These pictures, like I said, I hope the glare is not too bad, but these pictures are, let's see if I can pull the pictures out so there's not as much glare from the plastic. But these are the pictures from Bergeltz, which I always talk about, Cardiac Hill, trying to get into it. But there's a picture of the castle itself. And Bergeltz it holds some memory in there. I don't know why, but Bergeltz is one of those castles that they didn't have a road for to drive on. I mean, there was a road, but we didn't use it to drive down there. We won the experience. The school field trip that we went on won the experience of walking down in there, because it's like, this is what you'd have to do to get to this castle back in medieval times. And this is one of the reasons why this castle, because it sat in a valley, it was basically fully intact. No, the only thing they did to modernize it is electricity, because people still lived in this castle. People that actually lived in some of these castles, families that basically are descended from the original people who lived in it. And a lot of the castles, like the upper floors, were for the people who lived there, whether they were the descendants, the workers, whomever. And the lower half of the castle, usually like the first 2 floors, was for tourists, so they can come in and see what the castle looked like, the armor that the people who guarded wore, things like that. This is actually a picture of the inside of the castle. Not like the inside, but like the inner part of the castle. Like the castle was built in a circle and they had like a courtyard basically. So if I can get this picture out, this would be a view up towards some of the upper parts of the castle from the courtyard. And then this is the picture of the sign entering Altley, the little village we lived in outside of base. It was about a 20-minute drive, maybe less, to get from Altley to the base. Come on. Come on. Come on. Trying to get these out without damaging the picture because it's the only pictures I have. But this is the Altley Guest House. It serves two functions. One, it's a hotel, which is basically what a guest house is in Europe, and a restaurant. So they had like a lower floor with like a little restaurant for people to get into and have their meals, or for those who are traveling or wanted to stay at a guest house while traveling. Altley was the main road from the Mosel River, a little town called Zell, to the main Autobahn or highway to get from my area of Germany to, you go one direction, you go towards Koblenz, which was a major city on the Rhine-Mosel River, where the Rhine and Mosel River met, or to use the Autobahn to get to other parts of Germany like Stuttgart, Rhein-Main, Frankfurt, major cities. These last pictures I'm not going to show, but they're from the last place we lived in Altley before coming home to the States. And it was basically the front part of the building that we lived in is a single-story building. The front part was like I don't want to call it an apartment because most people, when they think of European apartments, are thinking something small. It was almost like a house. It had 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a main bathroom, a master suite, and kitchen, and then a big living room that was used for a combination of eating in and the living room. So I guess you can consider it an apartment here in the States, depending on where you look. But the back part of the building was actually a factory, and this is the factory that made what was called rouladens. And basically what these are, and this is not food, there is two similar sounding items. One is a food item, another one is a blind. And these blinds that the factory made were the security blinds that go over the windows. And they were originally invented back during World War II. And what these blinds would do is they'd go over the windows and they'd interlock. So it would block all light from the outside as well as from the inside. So the bombers overhead couldn't see that you're flying over a village. Nowadays they're used mostly for security shutters. They're almost like curtains instead of having regular curtains, because a lot of German houses, they don't have curtains like we do. They have just like lace curtains so the sun can come in, but they would put these rouladens down at nighttime to block the street lights, and then block sunlight if you're somebody who didn't have to wake up at the crack of dawn. But the people in the factory were real fun, real nice people. So we lived in the house that's attached to it. And this is the house that I had the most amount of adventures, because the size of the building, the factor that right across the street was like a restaurant / convenience store / gas station. I don't know if it was an actual guest house, but I know it was a gas station with a diner type eatery attached to it. But there are two pictures in here that I want to share because you get to see some of the fun I had. If I can get it out. Okay, good. This is Dad next to the sheep that I used to play with. This particular sheep was the one that got out of its paddock, out of that fenced area, and nobody else could get it in there until I came along, and it followed me back. And I'm trying to get the, come on. And there's young little me with the sheep, and some fun, some toys that I used to play with. I was very creative, very adventuresome back then. I used to dig scraps out of the garbage for the factory, and they had like little pieces of plastic and black rubber type cording that they used to help seal the real items in their casing. So I had fun playing with that stuff. And then up the road from the factory was a little picnic area. And in that picnic area was a little pond with some ducks. And I used to go down there and feed them. The water for this pond, though, is very murky, very muddy looking. I don't know how the pond was fed or filled, or if it had a runoff, but the pond water reminds me of a lot of ponds here in Missouri where it's just a pond, there's no runoff, but there's no like green algae, it's just like brown muddy water. We call it Mississippi water. Now that I'm older and I know what Mississippi water looks like, brown and murky. Ah, yes, one of my other castles that I loved going to. We went to it at least twice that I remember. And that was a little castle called Kokum Castle. I'm just going to try to peel back the plastic so it doesn't cause much of a glare and not try to pull the pictures up. But that's Kokum Castle. It was a castle on a hill that overlooked the Mosel River. And it was beautiful. Let's see here. That's the view from Kokum. That's the Mosel River overlooking the little town of Kokum. Oh boy. Whatever happened to all my hair? Me and my Cub Scout uniform. I went to Cub Scouts while in Germany because it was an activity for kids, American kids, to do in Germany, and it was usually kids from the base. I don't even remember if we had any actual German kids with us, but I know that's, we had summer camp. I did it once. I don't know why I didn't do it the other 2 years I was there. I don't know if because I fell out of interest because it was not adventurous enough, but I think I kind of went into the Cub Scouts because not really forced into it, but coaxed. My father said that I would have more fun. I'd get to meet more kids. I'd get to do more stuff. And I think I only did it the second year we were there. The third year, I don't remember doing it. No. And then here's my elementary school graduation at Hahn Air Base. What was that? 5th grade? No, 3rd grade. Yeah, 3rd grade. I should have been in 5th grade, but I think I said this once before. Because of the schools on base were actually 2 years more advanced or ahead of the schools back here in the States. So when I went to Germany, I should have been going into 4th or 5th grade, but I got held back a grade or two. And then when I came back from Germany, I don't know why I didn't get pushed forward, but I actually got pushed back. Because when I left Germany, I was in 5th going into 6th grade when I left. And when I came back here, they put me back a grade or two. So it kind of screwed up my educational part of life, which is fine because by the time I got into 12th grade, I was sitting in school going, why am I here? I feel that I knew more, than the school was teaching me. And I dropped out in the middle of 12th grade. Of course, I was having a lot of family and emotional issues at the time, and I dropped out. And then about a year or so later, I went to a program basically it was a GED program. And I went to the program. I started doing the program. They gave us what they call a mock test to see how much we know and how much we need to learn before we can pass the GED test. And I took the test, and the instructor basically graded the test and came back to me and said, "You can go take it and pass it right now by the looks of your scores." And I went, "Well, I don't feel confident enough at the time." And the instructor said, "Well, you can't even retake the mock test for at least another week." I said, "No problem. I'll just keep on coming to the program and working on areas of study that I know I had problems with, which was basically math and English, written English, sometimes even spoken English." But I did the course for another week, and I did the second mock test, and the professor again said, "Go take your test. You don't need to be in this class. Go take your test." So I went and I found out when the testing was, and was it January of '92? I don't know. Was it 92? Was it January of 92 or 91? I don't know. I'd have to go find my GED. It's somewhere in my files. I went and took the test, and basically the people who ran the testing facility said it's going to take at least 30 days for you to get your results. So once you're done with the test, wait 30 days. If you haven't gotten the scores back, get a hold of the number on your pamphlet. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I took the test. For 30 days, I'm fretting. I'm sitting there going, I didn't pass it. I'm going to have to wait a month to retake it because I don't think I passed it. Lo and behold, I get it, and I'm looking at the scores going, okay, well, they gave me the diploma, the certificate, and then they gave you the test results, and I just kind of went, okay, so I'm above average in not geometry, above average in geology, not geology, above average in science, above average in social studies, average in reading, slightly above average in reading, average in math, and slightly below average in English. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think I was going to do that good on math. I figured I'd be like way below average on math, not average. And then the same thing with reading. I was thinking reading, oh yeah, I knew science and social studies. Those two right there, I loved. In fact, I used to argue with my history teacher on the actual facts that I learned while in Germany when it came to world history. And then I used to argue with him about the facts of what happened with the Native Americans in American history. So, it's like, don't argue pronunciation of certain words or certain events that happened when you were there and you lived amongst the people and heard their stories and heard their history. As for the Native Americans, back then I was really, really, really interested in Native Americans because of certain family members who don't know the DNA facts, thought we were that we had the Native American blood in our system. Keep on wanting to look for my scores. But anyhow, these next pictures are from Dad was still alive, and the trees look like something from Europe, not. Yeah, this is from potlucks in Germany with our church, I think. I'm trying to look for key. Yeah, I think. Anyhow, I have some pictures of my dad wearing his cowboy hat while he was cooking at a. And I don't know if it's church or not, because I'm looking at some of the backgrounds and I'm thinking, just by the looks of those cars and some of the trees and whatnot, it had to be Germany, because yep, okay, yeah, I remember that picture. Okay, that's Germany, all right. Here's another one of him by the barbecue. Some old fond memories in here. Yep, because there I am. And that's a younger picture of me, so that had to be Germany, because just by the look of the clothes itself that I was wearing. But, getting glare. But, young picture of me. Sorry about the glare, folks. I just don't want to pull some of these pictures out. Ah, yes. This is our house that we lived in. It's the last house we had with Dad. That's from Mesa, Arizona. And there's my mutt, Nutella. And dog was a nuisance. And a picture of Mom, me. That must be Christmas. Dad's still around, so had to be Christmas of 83. No, Christmas of. Might have been Christmas of 83, because I think that was the Christmas we got back from Germany. But you might not be able to see everybody in this photo because it's a distance photo in the glare. But you can probably see Dad there in the background. I think Dad and Mom were the tallest out of the people in that picture, because that's Estelle, Avira, Sue, Nanny Brown, Mom, and Dad. Nanny Brown was, I don't know what her connection was with the family, but I know that Nanny Brown used to show up during the holidays before Dad passed away. And I don't even remember if we came out here after that holiday, because we were all away in Arizona. No, that's right, because we ended up spending the rest of our holidays at Aunt Lee's house. Okay. These are pictures of everybody gathered at our house in Mesa after Dad passed away. This right here is my cousin Matt, and he's in a swing chair. Now, the swing chair, I don't know if we got that here in the States or we brought that from Germany, but we found it in Germany. What it is, it sits on a pedestal, and it has this curved arm, and then a spring hanging from the arm, and then a basket that you sat in. I'm thinking I'm the one taking these pictures, because I think this is like the first camera I ever had, and I just went camera happy, taking pictures of people and places and all different events. Okay, these are pictures of us in the hotel in California for Aunt Kay's funeral. This picture I'm going to show you, this is a trip that Mom, Debbie, my cousin Aaron, which is Debbie's son, so my second cousin, Debbie's my first cousin, and I going to the Grand Canyon. And I think we had, yeah, this is after Dad passed away. We had the Hornet. We still had the old Hornet. Or did we? I don't know what car this is. I do not recognize this car. But anyhow, that's me taking any road trip, passed out in the back seat. So yeah. But Was this the Grand Canyon? No, because that's the Grand Canyon. So what trip was this? Because this is Montezuma's Castle in southern Arizona. So, here, if you're not awake yet when you watch this, you will be after this. Guess who? Lily. Yes, me in my younger days at a picnic for no, not PWP. It was a picnic for my mom's job. I'm wearing a Air Force, well, it's an F-15 Eagle hat, and a denim jacket. How old was I? I had to be like 16, 17 years old. Still look like a kid. Still going camera, happy with my camera. Pictures of people I don't even know. Ah, yes, family portraits. Let's see here. This is my Aunt Lee's mother, Busha, which anybody who knows Polish means grandma. That would be Aunt Lee there. My cousin Susan trying to take a picture of me as I'm taking a picture of her. Neither one of us like our pictures being taken, so that was kind of like one of those, I'm going to take a picture whether you like it or not. My cousin Matthew and that right there is Uncle Hank. He was married to Aunt Kay. And then I have a rare picture here that I'm trying to remember where this was taken because I don't recognize the picture above our heads. But this picture, someone took a snapshot. This is my cousin Joel. That's me, and that's young Aaron. And I'm trying to think, was this at Aunt Lee's for Dad's funeral? Or was this at Aunt Sue's? But why would Aaron be at Aunt Sue's? Because Aaron never went to Missouri. So I'm going to have to say this was done at Aunt Lee's. But anyhow, Mom gave me that photo album. She asked me to look through it and decide if I want to keep, what photos I want to keep, things like that. And I'm like, oh, well, I know the first 4 pages, maybe 6 pages, are photos of people I don't even know from Dad's side of the family, his parents, I think, or one of his fathers, anyhow. So it's like, those I might go ahead and give up and send to Susie. Some of the other pictures of my dad growing up, I don't know half those people. I never met them. And most of them passed away either before I was born or after I was born, but I don't remember them. I mean, the only family member out of Dad's side of the family that I remember would be Aunt Kay. And I don't know I don't know what she looked like back then when those black and whites were taken. But I'm probably going to end up keeping the whole photo album. Actually, no. I will definitely send Henson family photos to either my cousin Debbie or my cousin Susan. I don't have children to pass down photos or anything like that. Jerry Ann and I are now in our 50s. I'll be 50 in a year. She just turned 50. We had thought about adoption at one point in time, but financially, I don't think we could afford an adoption. I mean, house-wise, yeah, we just have to clean up some rooms and whatnot and make this room into a children's room and clean up the craft room so we can use it as a guest room. We had talked about, actually, I want to put something out there. We talked a day or so ago about our so-called dining room. We don't really use it. It's there just more for show than usage, because there's not really a lot of room for a lot of people to be in there because of the furniture. And she had a suggestion or an idea, more of an idea. Why not take move some of the furniture and around just so slightly, so I can basically use that as my personal office space. I can hang up my tapestry. I can hang up this one tapestry that looks like a faux library wall from Harry Potter, and just use it for my studies. I can put all my study stuff in there. I can put my Bible study stuff, my architectural stuff, my D&D stuff in there, and basically use it as I please. Possibly either bring this chair in there, my desk chair, or just use the chairs that are in there. The chairs that are in there are nice and comfortable, but they're not high. And for me to do certain things, I need a higher space. That, in fact, I can put my new tripod, and whatnot on the table, on the desktop, and angle the camera down to look at my architectural stuff, so I can show you how I do architectural drafting and whatnot, things like that. And I have taken it into consideration. I'm still thinking about it, because it's like basically the furniture that's in there would stay in there. It's just, it would be moved around so I can get around the table a little bit easier. My only two concerns about doing something like that is the stuff that's in there has to get rearranged or moved or something like that. And I don't think I can function with all those chairs, because I don't think those chairs are high enough for me to sit comfortably and write. I would have to clean up the table a little bit to go in there and test it before my final decision, which is something I wanted to talk with Jerry Ann about before a final decision is made. It was an idea, and at first I was kind of like thinking that she was trying to move me out of this room and move me in there, and I went, well, how are we going to put the desk in there? How are we going to do this? She's like, no, we're not putting the desk in there. We're not moving everything in there. We're just moving you and your books and whatnot that you use, and you can come and go out of here as you please to grab stuff, that you want and whatnot, or need. The idea was to basically try to make this where if we have guests can use it comfortably without having to worry about me coming and going, and I don't have to worry about how am I going to do my vlogs or my studies or anything like that while I have guests in here. So she had a legitimate reason. I mean, the reason sounds, great and whatnot, because, yeah, when we have guests, like when we had guests for her birthday party, I couldn't do anything but vlog in a different room. I had to either vlog while they were out of the house, or I had to do it in the bedroom, or that one time I actually did do it in the dining room. So it's like, okay, I understand the reasons, and they're legit. They're not just, I hate saying the word selfish, because they weren't selfish. They were a legitimate concern idea. I don't know when or if we'll have any other visitors for extended period of time. Maybe Lisa during the summertime, depending on Corona. Maybe, well, the only thing about Sharon coming out here to visit is she's allergic to cats. Mom has a cat, and she can't be in a house with a smoker, because it bugs her allergies and her other health issues and whatnot, which I understand. I would love it if we can clean up the house and this guest room and whatnot, and have one of her, she has, I don't have any nieces and nephews. She has 3 nieces, All of them are in their, well, only one of them is still in her teens, but all of them are done with school. No, I take that back. Abigail, Abby, she's not done with school yet. She's still in her teens, but when she was here back last November for Thanksgiving, I can tell there was some family issues. Abby was not rebellious. I don't want to say that she was very rebellious, but she's a teenage girl wanting to be out on her own, wanting to do her own thing, while mommy wants to still mommy her. No. Dang it, I can't remember names now. Is Abby the middle one or the last one? I think Abby's the last one. I can't remember. Oh, Faith. I had to go through my head different names. Faith is in her 20s, living on her own, and we offered to let her come out here because she was wanting to get away from mom, wanting to get out on her own, wanting to explore the world on her own. I understand that. I was the same way. We offered to let her come in and visit us for a period of time until she can get stable, basically. She was having issues. Not major issues. She was just having family drama. That's the only way I can describe it because I don't know the full extent. And then Katie, who is, I guess, my favorite out of the three because she's open-minded, she's bubbly, very friendly, very nice, very creative. She took a course in, I'm going to call it cosmetics, but basically it wasn't real cosmetics. It was like creating monster masks and movie makeup, basically. Yeah, we'll call it movie makeup because it was good, high quality stuff. She's inspired to be a makeup artist for The Walking Dead. She's into goth and that kind of stuff, which is fine by me. I don't know that much about it, but I know it's a lot of these people who are into goth like wearing dark clothes and white face powder makeup with dark lips and eyeshadow and that kind of stuff, and it's fine. That's her choice. But we reconnected during Rob's funeral, which was great, because she's never seen me in a positive manner because of all the issues that I had to deal with in New York. Made me a little bit of a bitter, irritable type person. Of course, she told me that's just because people in New York are irritable and bitter anyhow. So it's like, okay. But she got to see me be the person I am when I get drunk, which, for the most part, usually when I get drunk, I'm usually happy-go-lucky, talking my brain out. I'm not grumpy, I'm not irritable, I'm just mellow. That's how she put it. Which was great. And then her and Jerry-Ann were texting back and forth, and she texted Jerry-Ann, and Jerry-Ann read me the message, and it was like one of those, wow, she thinks I'm interested and funny and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what did I do when I was drunk? I know I talk a lot while I'm drunk, but what else did I do? Because sometimes not that I black out, but sometimes I just don't remember what I did. But to have somebody actually say, how funny I was while I was drunk or things like that, I was just kind of like, okay, sure. But Jerry also has 5 nephews, and Peter and Nicholas are withdrawn from the family. They'll show up for family functions and they'll do the family thing, but when it comes to like the boys didn't want to connect. I don't know if they didn't want to connect with me because of the fact that, you know, I had more interaction with them in the past, and it wasn't exactly the best. So I can understand them not wanting to hang with me or anything like that. Of course, one of the Peter and Nicholas, they had their own thing going, and they were more interested in their own thing. And I think that's part of it was the fact that they lived above us when I was there, and yeah, they grew up in a not so positive home life with the whole attitude of either being a police officer or a fireman. Peter, I think, does his own thing. He's like, when we were there, because a lot of the jobs were basically under lockdown. The job that he had was under lockdown, except for he can work from home. So he wasn't out of a job. He just wasn't in an office environment. Nicholas was I think he's part of the volunteer fire department there in Island Park. And then Alicia's boys, Christopher, John Tom, and Joseph. Took me a second to remember Joseph. Joseph is I don't know exactly what Joseph does. I know Christopher is a corrections officer, and he did contract or come down with corona, but got better. I'm not sure what John Tom does either. So, and John Tom, out of the three boys, John Tom was more interested in what was going on with me. Joseph was interested because I brung 2 big bottles of mead. But I invite all my family here. I mean, it don't matter what side of the family. I've even invited, my side of the family. I've invited my cousin, Sue. I've offered, my Aunt Lee and Sue to basically stay overnight if they ever go to travel to, or do a road trip to, Chicago, because we've got family in Chicago and they're connected with those people. I don't know my family from Chicago that well, except for by name. I would love to. I wonder if Pam would take that offer if I offered her to come out here. But I've offered family members, hey, if you decide to come out east, I used to say out west, but out east to the Midwest, I can make room for you. I've got a queen size bed, you know, or you can stay at a hotel, depending on what you want. So, but anyhow, that's my little show and tell about my family. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I'm sorry it's a little long. I mean, I've got a lot about my family. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put it in the question comment box. If you're a new subscriber, this video is just a blank video about my family. If you choose to join because you've watched some of my other videos and liked them, good, go for it. Until next time, God bless and have a good day. Bye.